Hello and welcome. Let me know if you can hear me in the comments because yesterday there seemed to be something wrong with the sound. Really curious to see if it's working now. Hope it is. I'm just going to continue here. I'm going to start off with Bitcoin as usual. Bitcoin actually went on a pretty good run over the night, and I'm really sad that I missed this. But there are a couple of things that we really have to look at, apart from just the Bitcoin chart. Hold on. Here. There we go. Okay. So, Bitcoin. Gonna start off with the triangle that has been drawn. We've been looking at this triangle for quite a while. Just gonna drop in the bottom here. And today I'm charting on the Bitstamp chart for the main reason that the Bitfinex chart is really distorted right now. And I'd like to take a look at that first. So let us take the Bitfinex chart. As you can see on the Bitfinex chart, we have already broken out. Bitcoin went as high as 7,800. On other exchanges, it stayed around 6,700, which is $1,000 difference. This is, obviously a large difference, and we have to consider where this difference could be coming from. So here we are. On this chart, you can see the difference in price between Bitfinex and Bitstamp. And as you can see, the greatest difference was $1,000. Currently, we are sticking at $400. This has never really happened before. And, without causing any FUD or whatsoever, this is a very large difference. And we have to look, realistically here as to what is causing it. And what could be causing it is the fact that people cannot withdraw USD or euros from Bitfinex. So they're going to have to buy Bitcoin in order to withdraw that. I don't know if this really is the case, but I have read some angry tweets that could indicate that this might actually be the case. So nothing to worry about, but it's very important to keep a good eye on this, because if Bitfinex is insolvent, then this could go pretty quickly. Also, in the past, when a price difference like this occurred, it usually recovered really, really fast. This is not the case this time, so keep an eye out. USDT also seems to be experiencing a little bit of problems. I'm gonna click the daily chart here. As you can see, USDT is dumping quite heavily. It happened in the past, especially 2017 in April. It also happened, and the cause was that there was a bull run starting for Bitcoin, and a lot of people were just buying the Bitcoins with Tether. Sorry guys, 1 second. Kibbeling. Okay. So if we look at this chart, USDT seems to be dumping. There is a difference in price on Bitfinex and Bitstamp. And if we look what happened before when this occurred, which was in May 2017, also May 2017 on the Tether charts, you can see that on May 2017, Bitcoin started a new pump, so that might also be the cause, just the start of a new Bitcoin pump. We're going to have to remain in silence and just wait for a bit to see what is actually going to happen. TA-wise, just disregarding the Tether dump and the difference in price on the exchanges. TA-wise, I would say this looks pretty good. On Bitfinex, Bitcoin already broke out of the descending triangle. But on most of the other exchanges, for example, Bitstamp, Kraken, but even BitMEX, there hasn't really been a breakout yet, apart from this quick breach of the resistance. So what I'm doing now is I'm just waiting. I'm gonna see which way this goes. It could go a million different directions at this point, and it's very important not to get caught in the wrong direction, because that could really end not so well. So I'm not buying yet, as I've said on Discord. I'm still waiting, but there could be some reason for optimism, but there could also be a lot of reason for pessimism. Alts, let's take a look at Bitcoin first, paired against Ethereum, or Ethereum paired against Bitcoin. Not a lot has changed. Obviously, we were trading this triangle. There we go, of which we broke out on the top side, only to be dumped soon after this. So this position became invalid. I'm also waiting for Ethereum. Ethereum had a small bump, not anywhere near as violent as the Bitcoin bump, but still there was a small bump, which is a sign of strength. And again, I think it's just really important to be patient here, to wait it out, and to have a clear direction before we take any action. Now, if you have any alt requests, please put them in the chat box on YouTube. I'm going to go over them and try to answer as many as I can. Myself, I'm going to start off with trade token. And for this, I'm just going to have to log into Coinigy for a second. Let me check. There we are. Okay, so Coinigy, want to start off with trade token. Now, why do I want to start off with trade token? That's because trade token is currently looking really, really good. There we are. So a couple of weeks ago, we managed to break out of the downtrend, and we have set a very solid bottom here. Now, currently resistance, let me just drop this down, is sitting at 3,050 Satoshis, give or take a few. This has been a respected level in the past, and this level seems to be respected, the last couple of days. If we manage to break this level, and I'm not sure yet, obviously anything could happen, but if we manage to break this level, we're going to have to look at short-term targets on a microcap. So that really is some good news as far as I'm concerned. And if we do break that level, my target would be sitting at the 618 Fibonacci level, which is 5,585 Satoshis. Now, obviously, if we get there, we could potentially push a lot higher, but we're first going to have to wait and see if we can actually manage to get to the 618 Fibonacci level. The way I'm going to play this, I'm going to wait until we break out of this accumulation range here. As soon as we do break above this level, I am going to place a long. Obviously, will be a manual long. There's no margin on trade token or whatever. So in essence, I'll just buy some tokens. And then my stop will be under the bottom that we've set on 510. So yeah, looking pretty good. Solid chart. Trade token is a solid coin, as far as I'm concerned. Really fond of it. And I think there will be a bright future for this one, apart from just the short-term trades. Next in line, ICX, as requested by Mark. Take a look at icon. So I've been actually, I've been saying this for a while. I've covered this a couple of weeks ago. I believe it was 1 or 2 weeks ago that we went over that, um, really nothing has changed as far as I'm concerned. We've managed to set a bottom, which is located right at the all-time low on Binance, and so far we have not breached this bottom. So obviously that's good news. I can't really find any kind of solid pattern here. There's no symmetric triangle or anything else. I can drop down a support here. I believe the support is valid, even though we need 3 tests. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be the 3rd test. Other than that, um, there's no pattern to be made from this. So if you're into ICX, a good thing is to just accumulate in this range. Um, with the risk of dropping down below support. So if support is breached here, we do not have any reference anymore. We do not have any price action in this range. So by then, we're going to go into price discovery, and who knows where the bottom might be. On the other side, this looks like a pretty solid bottom. Have been ranging here for, almost actually more than 2 months. And so far, support has stayed intact. There's no real sign of weakness. And if this is indeed the accumulation range, then obviously if ICX does break out, there could be a great risk reward here. So I'm just going to drop down the target. If you accumulate here and you put your target at the first resistance and your stop just below support, then you could have a R&R trade of 3.2, which is great. That's a great ratio. Gaining 121%, risking 37%. So obviously I wouldn't be going too big on this one, but this could be a nice trade to make. Next in line, EOS, one of my personal favorites. I'm kind of in dubio here since Bitfinex has most of the history. But the chart is a little bit distorted for most coins. Appears to be fine for EOS though, so let us get to it. EOS is still ranging within my accumulation range. Dropped this down a couple months ago and have been using that to accumulate EOS. There's no real support to be found other than, let me just drop this here, this one. And just to make that a little bit clearer, I'm gonna remove the zone. Seems to be a new support found. Started at the end of last year in December. Has been very well respected so far, I have to say. And as long as this support stays intact, I believe that EOS, has a very good chance if Bitcoin pumps now and we do get a mini alt season to make some nice gains. How I would play this, very simple. And I'm just gonna draw this out here. Seems to me we are currently forming a symmetric triangle. If we do break to the upside, we're gonna have to look for a target. First thing we're gonna do is drop our Fibonacci over this entire move and look at the past for where support resistance is. As far as I'm concerned, the biggest resistance, the horizontal resistance, is currently sitting at 130,000 Satoshis. Seems to be a well-respected level. Has had a couple of tests in the past, 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit distorted, but I'd say 5. So that's definitely valid. And this could prove a very good resistance to put our target at. Our stop, if this breaks to the upside, is of course just gonna be below the support. Now, if we break to the downside, and I don't expect this to happen, and as far as I'm concerned, it's very unlikely. But if we do, we're gonna have to look again, in the past for support resistance, I would say the biggest support is currently sitting here at 52,000 satoshis. Has been a very well respected level. It has one, two, three, four tests in the past. So it seems to be absolutely solid. If we break down out of the symmetric triangle, target's gonna be at 50,000 satoshis, and our stop will of course be above the resistance, making this an R&R of 3.5, which is pretty solid. At this moment, I cannot tell you which direction we're gonna move in because we're still inside the triangle. IDH, I don't know that one. Gonna be very honest about that. I'm gonna guess that if I go to CoinMarketCap, we look at IndaHash, we can see that the volume is 45,000 USD. And it doesn't really have access to a whole ton of volume other than HitBTC. I'm guessing that you are referring to the fundamentals of this coin, influencer marketing app. I don't know it, so before I can comment on this, I'm gonna have to look through it, which I'm not gonna do right now because I would like to focus on TA for a little bit. As far as TA goes, this coin is currently in price discovery mode. Could have said a potential bottom here, but nothing really solid to go off. If we take a look at the unbalanced volume, we can see that nothing really special is going on at this moment. There are no major buys or sells. So from a TA perspective, I'm not too keen on trading this one at all. From an FA perspective, this could be really great, but I don't know that at this point. But I will definitely look into it after the stream. And you can always send me a message on Discord and I will just go over it for you. And we can check it out. QLC. So QLC, always been, pretty fond of it. I think it's a great project. Hold on, there we go. Same story as with many other alts. Seems to be setting a bottom currently. Support has been found, although it's not really the most solid of supports. I can safely say that if this support is breached, I expect another leg down. What we could make of this is very simple. Let me just draw this out here. We could be forming an ascending triangle, of course. We need one more test in order for this to be valid, and we need to not break support. If this is going to form an ascending triangle, I would personally wait for this to play out, to breach resistance, and then we can drop our first target, very simple, at the previous support here, which is 1600 satoshis. This trade, if this happens, would have a pretty good R&R ratio of 2. Hold on, there we go. But at this moment, this is not clear yet. There's no actual reason to take any trade. And again, if support is breached, you could do a short if you know of a way to short this. But there's not going to be any reference to where your target might be. So I would say patience. And let's see where we can go, right? Next in line is going to be Lux. So personally, I believe there is every reason in the world to buy Lux right now. Recently got listed on Coinbana, which is a really good large exchange with a lot of volume. I would say this is the accumulation range. Currently, we are just ranging within this. Actually, Lux is one of my biggest bets at this moment. I think Lux trade token are going to be very successful, but then again, you shouldn't just go off to what I am buying or selling. You should do your own research. TA wise, could be looking pretty good here if we manage to hold our position within this support and we manage to breach this resistance right here. I think we are gonna have a great run, especially now that Lux has access to a ton more volume, right? The only problem that Lux has experienced up till now is that there is no volume on the Poloniex or on I should say Cryptopia. Now there is volume on Coinbana, and I think if this thing starts going, it could go pretty fast. So if we breach resistance, my target is gonna be the 618 of the entire move, currently situated at 200,000 satoshis. Stop loss, very simple, just below support, giving this an R&R of 8, making it a great trade. If you want to be more careful, obviously you could also put your target at the first Fibonacci line, which is currently sitting at 94,000 satoshis. Good news for Lux. Lux is looking pretty well. See another request for EOS, Roberto. We just did EOS, so you can just scroll back a little bit and check it out. Just rewind the stream after it's done. Let's see. Sys. Really do like Sys. I've traded this coin a lot in the past. There we go. Currently, you will find that I also have accumulation range for Sys. Seems to be trending in this range now. There's a clear resistance as well. Let me just draw it out. Unfortunately, we are not going to be anywhere near resistance for the coming time, or so it looks. I think this is going to take a while to recover. There is one point, however, I would like to show you guys. We could potentially be forming an inverted head and shoulders here. Of course, I don't want to go off that too much, to be honest, because Sys actually went through one hell of a dump and usually takes a while to recover. So I would play this for the long term. I would accumulate in this range and then I would just wait. Can put a stop below support here. Targets. Your guess is basically as good as mine. We can go off this Fibonacci range, and in the past, Sys has always returned to the 618. So I would hold that one or the 05 as a target, but this thing has wrecked the entire range here. There's no clear support, no clear resistance. Fortunately, the Fibonacci levels are quite clear, and you can see that we have respected them pretty well in the past, especially the 236 and the 618. XLM, Stellar Lumens, really fond of that one as well. I'm gonna stick to what I've said previously in my live streams. I believe we are forming a triangle here. Let me just... There we go. This could look, in essence, like a ginormous bull flag, right? It would be very large, but I am really, really surprised that XLM has managed to hold up this range so well. And if we go to CoinMarketCap, even though Stellar is currently sitting around 4 billion USD market cap, with the fact that it's held up so well, that it's doing better than, I'd say, 90% of all the other alts, could mean that we're gonna have one leg to go. Now, where would I put my targets? That's very simple. I would put my target up here. I think XLM has a great chance to reach those heights. Seems to be not budging at all, even during the entire length of this bear market. Can't say it's really dumped like anything else. So really fun of this one. Watching this one closely for a while now. I don't believe I have a real reason to buy at this moment, but we could be coming closer and closer to the buying moments anytime soon. FCT, there we go. Personally, and this is just my opinion, I'd say this would make a pretty good trade at this moment. Let me just draw it out for you. So, support for FCT is sitting at 51,000 Satoshis. Resistance is getting really, really close to that level. So, I would say there's going to be a breakout soon. The way you want to trade this, because there doesn't seem to be a way to margin trade or to go short on this one. If resistance is broken, just put your stop just below support. If this thing breaches the final support, there's no reason whatsoever to hold this anymore. As long as it doesn't, you're gonna have to look for support resistance. Personally, I think 200,000 satoshis is a good level. Let me just drop that here. But just to be sure, I'm gonna draw a fib retracement over this entire move. We can see that the resistance that I've put down here is pretty close to the first fib, so we're just gonna move that up a little bit. If it breaks out, that would be a nice target. 220,000 satoshis. I wouldn't aim much higher due to the fact that this level seems to be pretty significant in the market. SIA SC. This is annoying. Let me check which exchange has most volume for SIA coin. Binance, of course. So we're gonna go over to Binance. There seems to be very little market history. Okay, we're gonna do it on Bittrex, even though it only has very little volume. As I've said recently, personally, I do believe SIA coin has broken out of the range. There's no real retest yet, so we might get a little bit of downdraft here. That being said, this just looks like a golden trade here. We've got our support, and this should be the range to accumulate in, which we've done only very briefly, but we've entered the range. I am already in a trade here, as I've posted in Discord, and my stop, is gonna be just in this range. I believe if we enter this range, we might very well be looking at going to the bottom of the range, which should be right around 45 satoshis. So if we breach it, I'm just gonna, probably exit the position and try to scrape off the bottom here. Because I am a fan of SIA. I think it looks really good, and I think it has a bright future. If there's going to be a next bull run target, as I've said, is going to be the first fib level here, 200 satoshis. And I'm just trying to do this as quick as possible because we do have a lot of requests by the look of it. Neo, next in line, same as many other alts currently in the accumulation range here. There we are. I believe that if we do enter this range, and we've entered it really briefly, that it could be time to buy. Looks like Neo is already working its way back into this range. I'm gonna be accumulating here, but I do have to say, if this range is broken, then that's pretty much it. There is no other real support or whatsoever that could stop this thing from falling another 80%. So very important to be careful here. No reason for panic, but you know as long as we stay in or above this range, everything's gonna be fine. Lisk, a lot of requests for Lisk, so something must be going on. Really curious to see it. So I'm just gonna repeat the same story that I just told about Neo. Lisk seems to be in the accumulation range. Every time in the past it ranged here, it basically broke out to the upside and went on a nice bull run. So this could be a good buy level. However, I would like to note, if this range is breached and it dumps, yeah, that would be pretty grim, to be honest. Targets, if we manage to break out to the upside here, and I don't think there's any clear resistance. You can check it out. There's no clear resistance, in fact. Maybe on the log scale. Nope. Okay. We might have something here. 3 tests. Just gonna go with this. If this resistance here is breached, I'm not entirely confident about this one, but if it's breached, then there could be a nice run up. I wouldn't put my target too high. Let's keep it safe. Log scale off. Target's gonna be at 100,000 satoshis if it manages to break out. But obviously, this is not a short-term trade, as far as I'm concerned. This might be accumulating for a couple more weeks. Who knows? I can't chart Metam. I'm sorry. So yeah, overall things are looking pretty okayish. However, there is some real reason for concern, as I've said previously. The difference in price between Bitfinex and the other exchanges is still growing. There seems to be no sign of recovery so far. I would have expected this to go down to maybe $200 difference, but basically right now it's a $450 difference. Tether seems to be not recovering, or at least not as fast as one might hope from a stablecoin. So I think the next couple of days are going to be absolutely essential to what's going to happen to the crypto market. I would say keep a good eye on that Bitfinex premium, see if it doesn't grow anymore, because if there's $1,000 difference, that cannot tell us anything else other than that something is wrong on that exchange. Because if nothing was wrong, everybody would be selling their Bitcoins on Bitfinex, send some money to another exchange, buy there, and just keep repeating that process basically to make free money. The fact that nobody is doing that, or is not succeeding in doing so, could tell us that there is something off. Okay, so not to cause any kind of panic, but this is what is happening now. We can see it live in front of us, and it would be foolish to ignore this and to write it off as, basically nothing. Right now, I'm waiting. What am I waiting for? I'm waiting for Bitcoin to break resistance. If we quickly recap it, seems to be going nice and slow. Still not above it, but we're getting there. So I'm going to be updating you guys on Discord and talk there. Happy trading, guys.